All right, all right. Here we are back again for some more. Listen, I want to share a story with you that I think most of you can relate to. And here it is. When I was a police officer and going through the biggest struggles of my life, right? When I was struggling at work, when I was struggling at home, when I was struggling, in my relationship with God and physically, it was, it was a shit show. And I refuse to admit that, right? But one thing that I was more than willing to do was complain about the fact that my life wasn't working. I mean, I wasn't willing to do anything about it, but I would complain about it all day long to anybody who would listen. And I found myself assimilating and hanging out with people who would listen to me, people who agreed with me. When I would complain about the fact that my wife was the source of all of our problems at home. When I would complain about the fact that my supervisor or my boss was the reason that I wasn't making more money. When I would complain about the fact that, uh, you know, the crazy shift that I was working, that was the reason that I wasn't sleeping. Or I would blame God for the fact that my life was falling apart. See, I would blame everyone and everything around me for the things that weren't working. And we all know where that leads. And that is straight down to a life of misery, right? And I was lost in the dark, right? All of the unhappiness that I had in my business or my work, if you will, translated over to my personal life and then back and forth. And even though I wouldn't consider myself to be one, I literally had become, in this period of time in my life, a chronically unhappy person. In other words, there wasn't anything that you could say or do that would make me happy. I was always finding fault. Now, maybe this was, brought on partly because of the career that I was in, right? I didn't trust anyone. I doubted what everyone said until I could verify the truth, right? But ultimately what it did is it put me in this position of being chronically unhappy. And there's a problem with that, right? Because if you're chronically unhappy, eventually no one will want to be with you, which is what eventually happened to me. No one at work wanted to hang out with me. Well, my wife and my kids didn't want to hang out with me. People at church didn't want to hang out with me. Like, nobody wanted to hang out with me anymore. I'd become that guy. Oh, here he comes again, the bitcher and the moaner. Are you that guy? I don't know. But what I'm going to give you is 7 traits of chronically unhappy people, but not just give them to you, right? Because anybody can do that, point the finger, but I'm going to share with you what you could do about it. Because ultimately that's what we want, right? We want a solution to the problem. Here's number 1, and this one's the hardest one for me, right? You complain about life being too hard. Life is too hard. How many times have you found yourself complaining about the situation that you have at work? How many times have you found yourself complaining about your clients? How many times have you found yourself complaining about the government or complaining about taxes or complaining about, like, you're always complaining about something. So every time something doesn't go according to plan, a client doesn't buy, sales aren't up to par, marketing isn't working, so on and so forth, you tell yourself, oh, it happened to me again. Here we go again. Again and again and again, right? They call it the self-fulfilling prophecy. Now, here's what you could do about it. You need to change your mindset. And instead of having the mind that life is happening to you, it's happening for you. I'm going to say that again. Life is not happening to you, it's happening for you. In other words, all the skills and abilities that you currently possess, you didn't learn them or you didn't acquire them because things worked the way that you wanted them to work. You learned and acquired them. Why? Because you found yourself in circumstances that didn't function exactly the way you wanted them to. So in other words, your life was created through your trials, through your problems, through your failures, through your shortcomings. Cool. Take time to own and appreciate that. Number 2, you believe most people can't be trusted. Oh man, I struggled with this one for so long. I didn't trust the priest. I didn't trust my wife. I didn't trust my boss. I didn't trust my coworkers. Like, probably trusted the dry cleaner more than anybody else, right? But even then, I would check and make sure that he cleaned my shirts right. But I didn't trust anybody. Everybody in your life has said something to you or done something to you to harm you. Everybody, even your parents. When they took out the chancla or they took out the piece of wood or the belt or whatever, and they whooped your ass, guess what? That was your parents, the ones that love you, right? So everybody's done something in your life to harm you, either physically or mentally, verbally, so on and so forth. But you can't dwell on this because people make bad decisions. That doesn't make them bad people. But if you start to get paranoid about this, what's going to happen? You're not going to trust anybody, which means your ability to grow your business, your ability to grow in the business, your ability to connect with your clients, so on and so forth, is going to be severely limited. So what can you do? Well, you have to switch that mind again, right? We keep going back to this mindset. You have to switch that mindset from everybody's out to get me to, hey, guess what? People are generally good. They just have bad days. If you don't give them a chance, then how are they ever going to impress you? How are they ever going to draw close to you? They're not. They're not going to have that opportunity because you're not giving it to them. All right. Number 3. You focus on what's wrong with the world versus what's right. And this kind of, feeds off of number 2. How many times have you turned on the news and all you see is what? What's wrong with the world? People shooting each other, people hating each other, people stabbing each other, people setting each other on fire, so on and so forth. It's all negativity and hate. That's all social media has become anymore. Negativity and hate. Let's divide people, right? Let's divide them. Oh, you don't like me because of this? Fine, I don't like you because of this. And everything becomes a dividing line. So conversations with employees or coworkers become what? Full of the same negativity and hate. So it starts to breed this discontent. Now, what can you do? Well, you got to keep it in perspective, right? Yes, there's bad people doing bad things, but there's also good people doing good things. And the majority of people in this world are good people doing good things. We just don't spend the time focusing on it. If you shift your focus to the good people doing good things, you'll start to see more good people doing more good things. It'll change your mindset. Number 4, you're stuck in comparison game. How many times have you done this? When I first created my own business, right, and I started comparing myself to these other men who'd been in the business for a long time, and we'll call it the similar space, right, business consulting, if you will, and I was comparing myself to these men that had 10, 15, 20 years of experience. They have a bigger following, and they have more people that listen to them, and they have more sales, and so on and so forth. The problem is that we're not in the same boat. They're not the same person that I am. And the truth is there's enough opportunity to go around. There's enough business to go around. See, jealousy and resentment will ultimately lead you down the path of bitterness and hate. Not them. They're just doing their thing. So what can you do? Again, the possibilities in this world, they're endless. You can literally create the life that you want to create. Quit focusing on other people. Just go out and create the life that you want to create. Create the business that you want to create. Create the relationship with your clients that you want to create. Nobody can tell you how to create it. You're the only one that can do that. And ultimately, when you do that, you'll be the one that's winning in your own life. Number 5, you're constantly trying to control your life. You remember growing up playing video games, right? And it's the controller. We're trying to control the quote-unquote avatar on the screen, whether it was Mario or it was the soldier in Call of Duty or whoever it was. You're always trying to control life. And what would happen when you got shot or there was a delay or a lag or so on and so forth? You get pissed off at the controller, or do you get pissed off at the imaginary person on the screen because you couldn't control them? Right? And it's the same thing in your business, the same thing in your life. You cannot micromanage everyone and everything. Every time a curveball gets thrown at you and you swing and miss, you can't have a meltdown. So what can you do? You have to shift your focus. Your focus has to be on the desired outcome, not the path. Sometimes it's not plan A or plan B or plan C or plan D. Sometimes it's plan E, F, G, H. I don't know. if one of those is going to take you to where you want to go, then that's the path you have to take. And one of them stops working, you have to find the other path, right? So you're constantly target oriented and focused. Allow room in your life, though, that, hey, shit's going to happen. It's not going to work out the way you want it to, and that's okay. Regardless of how well you plan, that's okay. Keep your head up, look for that alternate path, and just keep moving. Number 6, when you think about the future, you panic. Chicken Little, the sky is falling, right? Oh, but what if this happens? And what if the stock market crashes? And what if they raise taxes? And what if they raise the interest rate? And what if my clients don't like me? And what if the marketing doesn't work? And what if? You can what if things to death. And if you do, you'll literally watch your life collapse in front of your eyes. So what can you do? You can what if, right? There's nothing wrong with what if, but you have to use what if in a different light. What if cannot be used in a what if negative frame. It has to be used in a positive what if frame. What if the plan does work out? What if marketing does work out? What if I do acquire 10 new customers? What if this new gadget does work? What if, but in a positive light. Take some of that fear out of it and start taking responsibility for the what ifs. And last but not least, all you ever do is complain and gossip. Am I talking to you right now? That's right. You're probably driving down the road right now, or you're at the gym on your stationary bike, or you're done having sex. I don't know. Some people do that. And you're listening to this and you're like, that's not me. Even though you just got done bitching and moaning about your clients, or bitching and moaning about the bank, or bitching and moaning about your marketing company, or bitching and moaning about your employees, or bitching and moaning about your wife. Like, if this is you, you got to stop doing that. You got to quit living in the past. You got to quit wishing for things to be the way they used to be. Oh, well, when I was a kid, blah, 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 blah. Well, as much as you and I would like it, it's not going to be that way. I remember when I was a kid, we'd never lock our door. Hell, my front door was open half the time. We'd run around the neighborhood. Kids would come in, kids would go out, so on and so forth. You can't do that anymore. When my kids are at home and alone, guess what? The doors are locked and the alarm's on. Life has changed. So you have to be willing to go with it, right? None of us is perfect. Just remember that. None of us is perfect. And we all find ourselves doing a little reminiscing, a little gossiping. But how long can you swim in the negative waters before you just get sucked in? If all the people you do, or all the people you hang out with, if all they do is complain and want things the way they used to be, you need to find a new group of people. Because ultimately, these are not the ones that are going to take you to where it is that you want to go. You have to see the possibility that exists out there for each of you. Remember, life's not what happens to you. It's how you react to it. How are you going to react to it? So take these things. First of all, acknowledge, hey, if you're chronically unhappy, cool. Acknowledge it first. If there's a couple of these that affect you, so be it. But you have to be willing to look at it and say, what am I going to do about it? I want a better life. What am I going to do about it? And I gave you some tangible things that you can do about it. The only thing left to do now, that's right, is go out and do it. All right, listen, if you guys have any questions, concerns, comments, I'd love to be able to help you out with this, okay? Reach out to me, Garrett@warriorguardian.com or Garrett@thetacticalbusinessman.com. That's right, I got that set up. If you're ready to see what this looks like, working with me looks like, I'm always available for you to reach out as well. You guys know how to get a hold of me through Messenger, through Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn. I'm all over the damn place. And no, I'm not going to give you my phone number. But you can probably find that too. In all seriousness, though, your life will get better, but you have to be willing to work at it. And that's only going to happen through repetition. All right? Okay, as always, remember, it's always easier to stay ready than it is to get ready. Your life's coming at you. Time to be ready. All right, ladies and gentlemen, time to get after it. 3, 2, 1, off you go.